Hey everybody, this is Pyric here. I'm joined again with Laz.
What's up, guys?
And we just want to talk about kind of just the state of the game, how it's been going. We've had a whole bunch of cool stuff happen recently. And that's pretty sweet because for a while it was, a lot of people were getting kind of bored, myself included. I was kind of phoning it in for the few of the events.
It was starting to get a little stale. We kept getting the same events over and over again. And then, bam, we had Paradox Brothers coming in. Amazing skill. Underrated. Then blew up drop rewards. We got World Championship Qualifiers.
Yeah, the amount of just activity and hype and just how hardcore everyone was going for that King of Games grind was great. The rewards climbing to King of Games was great. Just bam, here's 400 gems. Bam, here's 200 gems. Just getting an ultra rare orb for hitting King of Games is kind of meh, but still an ultra rare orb.
Yeah, my biggest gripe with World Championship Qualifiers was after the rank up rewards, we basically got nothing. You got your one prismatic rare SR, your one prismatic rare UR and 100,000 gold, plus your little icon. Okay, that's cool. But you didn't have any advancement rewards. You didn't have it. When it came to that part where they kind of took over for the KC Cup aspect of it, KC Cup performed better rewards-wise.
Yeah, and you just didn't have that same incentive anymore. It was just well, if I'm not going to hit top 10, why am I bothering? And it shouldn't be like that. And the other thing, my biggest gripe was just the fact that, you weren't paired with people of the same rank. So, you just randomly get people doing dailies with Taya Burn, which was just super tilting.
And you randomly got matched up with top 1 to 10 players for no reason. Yeah, you got a decent score from beating them, but that's if you could beat them.
Yeah, sweet. I beat somebody who was really good, and I got 1500 DP, but then at the same time, you could randomly get beat by just some other random person and lose 1500, which just felt miserable. And no win streak bonuses either.
That part was underwhelming, but overall the event was pretty solid. The rewards for ranking up were solid. The whole atmosphere of the game just changed a lot compared to what we were doing the last few weeks.
Yeah, we need more of those. We need that incentive for people to play because that King of Games grind gets real old.
You don't even know how many people just stop grinding because there's no real incentive. 50 gems. Okay, we get 150 gems every 2 weeks. Who cares? We can make that much just by sitting and hanging around.
Yeah, we can just go, I'm just going to go click this thing. Yay, balloons! But, yeah, and also just the time invested. But the sweet thing is, big ranked overhaul. We're going to start being able to, it's going to care about, actual number of wins, supposedly, and get vouchers to actually, exchange for cards. We get to pick cards. So, real stoked for that. Hopefully we just get more big events coming down, World Championship coming up. They added Duel Links to the World Championship, which is freaking sweet. Just a whole bunch of new content coming out. So, pretty hyped right now.
Well, the overhaul of the PvP was definitely needed. The ticket system, we can't say for sure how good it's going to be, but hopefully it has some amazing cards worth investing the time into doing it. And a few people were saying, you don't even have to worry about overall rank as long as you can grind out for tickets every whatever the length of the event is, right? And that's hype. We got Paradox Brothers. Those guys are hype. 3-star demotion. Perfect for PvP. Turning pretty much underrated, undervalued level 7s into instant, here's 2,800 attack in your face. And you got Labyrinth Builder, which was quite possibly one of the better farming abilities. You got Elements Unite, which can turn any newer player has a chance now to farm level 40 Rex, level 40 Weevil, level 40 Odeon with Elements Unite without needing Union Attack.
Oh yeah, totally. Like Elements Unite just giving you 100% win rate farm against a bunch of level 40s is fantastic. And then like it opened up other options. Like I was farming Bakura with it because Bakura just couldn't get through all three of those dudes, even though they couldn't do anything. You know, just he couldn't get through them. Like Paradox Brothers was everything we wanted from Bakura that we didn't get, pretty much, other than make the event longer and not like have points stop at 2 mil.
Yeah, that hopefully when they come back, we get the 4 million point. We get the rewards for getting the points were kind of lackluster. Yeah, we got Archfiend Power Labyrinth, but didn't mesh well with the rest of the rewards we got for the whole event. Drop rewards were great. You got a few okay ones. Damage Gate's underrated. I think Damage Gate can see some play, especially in Relinquished. Dimension Gate, by far best drop reward we've had in a while.
Yeah, D-Gate's made just this huge like bomb drop in the meta. Immediately, everyone's been throwing in everything, all the cute stuff you can do with Harpies, and then like it was also just a mainstay of some of the biggest decks in the qualifiers. Like the first bridge of the qualifiers was it was all about Harpies, and then it was like slowly like all about Harpies and Weevil. They were just like a dominating force in the meta because you just had so many Harpies. It's so consistent. You got to win that 5 games in a row, and then Weevil just stomps Harpies. But then you moved into the finals weekend, and the meta just shook up like all over the place again. And you know, like the initial talk was all about 3-star demotion, particularly with Dark Magician early on, but a lot of people were coming up with some crazy wild 3-star demo builds because go figure, when you just like pull up your deck builder, search for 7 stars, there's a whole lot of cards in there that nobody looked at twice before because they sucked.
True, and it's not that they suck, it's just they're slow, and this is a fast format. 3-star demotion gave them the speed they needed to be played. Now, another big shout out we have to give is to other characters from the Reddit Discord. Came up with Balanced Handless, which won the entire event. One of the better decks we've seen in the last how many months we've been playing?
A while. And like the whole thing seems really simple, but like the funny thing is it's just like this like sort of pinnacle of evolution of a thing. And we're still not quite to like that point where I feel like we have like anywhere near the best list for that deck because there's so many small tweaks you can do to it. Like DK played that deck the whole weekend, got a crazy score. Other people played it very well. 2-0 used that deck quite a bit over the weekend, and he also hit top 10. And his deck was way different. He used 10 traps in his, where everyone else is using somewhere around like 5 or 6.
Oh yeah, the variants are there. There's tweaking. The deck showed its potential. The deck has still room for improvement. We could still get minor cards that make the deck even better. Like one of the things I seen running around was a Tevin Nightmare version, which kind of helped with the lack of monsters. Because one of the biggest issues is 5 monsters. Yeah, 2,000 and 2,300 is hard to get over, but it's not that hard.
Yeah, biggest problem with the Nightmare is he's only got 500 defense, and like turning him into a 3,000 is a little bit hard because like that was sort of kind of like the go-to for handless beforehand. Was everyone was like, oh, we got these Nightmares and we got these Flash Assassins. Well, like they just kind of want to play together, but like really, like that deck kind of sort of wants like almost even just like another Gaia, because just running one Gaia like feels kind of bad. But like the games where you have Gaia on the field are so much better than the games you don't.
Well, losing your Gaia is the worst thing for the deck because you can't get it over much else because field spells, you have your mirror walls, stuff like that.
Yeah. And like the one thing that we started finding out is like, so the deck was really good that weekend when like only a handful of people knew it was like this thing you should be doing and it's insane. But then as we've kind of like played against it and like played with it, the deck has definitely been easier to fight than we kind of initially thought. Like I even played it for the qualifiers. I played it a lot for the qualifiers. This was my version I was using, and I enjoyed it. The deck was good, but like, dude, you can throw away games real easy. Deck is super punishing.
It's hard to master, but the deck is solid. There's improvements coming, hopefully. We are expecting a mini box in the next month. PvP rewards, whatever those might be. Today, Card Trader's been updating regularly. Like, we just got Supervise. We just got some very solid support for some underrated archetypes. We got, and this is something that people kind of been overlooking. Eco the Mystical Plant, or however his name is, helps you with your Terra Burn, and he's still a 1700 beater.
Yeah, he's a 1700 beater. He's another plant. Plant's one of those archetypes that's like, they keep giving them cards, and like, eventually they might just be insane. And like, we got Eco. Overdrive Teleporter, like, again, we keep getting more Psychic cards, but Psychics don't really feel right there. Like, the Super Soldier Synthesis is pretty sweet, but like, a Black Luster Soldier is just kind of big. And it's still a ritual summon, and if I'm ritualing summoning things, is this just generically better than Relinquished? Probably not. The big one is Supervise. Gemini's is this deck that people really, really, really want to work, and it keeps getting a whole bunch of more support. Supervise might just push them to that edge of, like, this isn't just this gimmick thing that we make videos with anymore.
Supervise, underrated. Gemini is underrated. Like I said in the previous video, they have the potential. We'll see it hit there someday.
Yeah, and like, we got a new legendary duelist coming up in Mokuba, so that's probably going to shake things up if his cards are like any decent, or you know, if there's like skills there. Our character level caps are going up, so that's usually where our most powerful cards come from. I mean, the last time that happened, we got Harpy Lady #1, and you know, like, it's
Swift Gaia.
Yeah, we got Swift Gaia.
35 to 40 might not seem like a big jump, but the lack of experience given true standard duels obviously makes it hell of a grind.
Yeah, and we get more gems. More gems are good. Always, always, always more gems are good.
What I'm hoping to see, and people might call me crazy, I don't even want gold. I want a deck slot or a new skill. Deck slot, new skill, you got your gems, and then your cards.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we want new skills in the game. Just like, it's one of those things where I feel a lot of decks are close, but really, really want like a skill to push them over the edge. Like, what 3-star demotion, just all of a sudden we just dusted off all of these 7 stars you didn't think you were ever going to play, and just boom, like, you got crazy stuff like High Tide on Fire Island, because it's kind of sort of like Champion's Vigilance, and then you got Champion's Vigilance, which is just an insane card, and other crazy, like Guardian Angel Joan. Like, they gave us Guardian Angel Joan, and like, it's like, what are we going to do with this? We could do like gimmicky fairy things, but why would you want to do that? But then all of a sudden, like, we have 3-star demo, and she's enormous for a 7, and her ability is just perfect for the deck. And then you have like other weird cards like Flame Ogre, where this card's like kind of sort of terrible, but it's, you know, a 7-star. It's got reasonable enough stats, and oh, it draws a card.
Yeah, 7 stars got the spotlight. This past event coming up in the future, we're going to see a lot more play with 3-star demotion.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, it's like, so we got 3-star emotion. Like, all of a sudden, you can like dust off stuff like Dark Magicians. We've been getting more Red Eye support because, like, you know, Super Joey happened, but then like we also got Kaiba Man about the same time as we got Super Joey, and then we got Vanguard. So we've gotten some really spicy stuff, just like constantly been coming out lately. Where for a while it was just like, here's some more stuff that you don't care about. Whereas like you give me like big awesome dragons like Vanguard of the Dragon, or you give me Kaiba Man so I can jam some Blue Eyes White Dragons, I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna play the best deck to get like to win with, but like if I'm grinding a King of Games, like if I can jam gigantic dragons and have fun to climb into King of Games, that's what I'm gonna do.
Oh yeah, Kaiba Man, Blue Eyes, plus D8. Took me plat 3, no problem. Instantly can destroy DSD, and I have replays to prove it. D8 was such a big hand in that deck, alongside Champion's Vigilance, that it was unfair.
Yeah. The biggest deck to just kind of sort of disappear, and this is a lot to do with Restart Emotion, has just been Gravekeepers. Like, people still play Gravekeepers. There's a contingent of people who just love it. And if you went through all the trouble of building this deck, and it's painful to build, just like chucking it aside would probably make you cry. So it's still powerful, but the problem is, it's like, if you've seen the stats on a Gravekeeper's Chief, he's a 1900 that you have to tribute summon at the end of the day.
GKs will always be GKs. We just got Knight of the Red Lotus, which just made Vanilla Beaters better, and he's a strictly better Gravekeeper's Chief, in my opinion.
Yeah, like, Gravekeeper's Chief can't just, like, reactivate himself every turn. And, like, I can't order to charge away a Gravekeeper's Recruiter, thank God, because that sounds like it'd just be miserable for everyone. But, like, 3-star demo, you just drop bigger things onto the field. But Gravekeepers is just gonna always still be there. But the biggest winner so far, because the new pack came out, Crimson dropped on Monday, we got more Red Eye support, and, I mean, who doesn't love jamming giant dragons? Because Red Eyes. I mean, Red Eye suffers from being smaller than other things, which sucks for him, but there's like 50 million ways to reanimate a Red Eyes. I mean, who doesn't like Red Eyes? He's just sweet looking. No one's really like come out with like a far and away like, oh, this is just how you should play Red Eyes yet. Red Eyes is super competitive. It's just not there yet. But we have tools now. I have a feeling that somebody will find something to make this work.
Oh, it's definitely going to get there. And back to the subject of level up rewards. Joey definitely needs a Silgan skill. Anybody needs that skill, because Warriors got so much hype in the new pack. They've had hype before, but without that field skill or a good skill for them, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, like when the best home for the best warrior skill is finding your Kaiba men. Something's wrong.
There's not much we can do about it now. We can just wait to see, because tomorrow night we'll find out.
Yep. And, like, one of the funniest things so far is, like, going to the King Game Grind for the final qualifiers, everyone was like, Harpies. Harpies was everywhere. So many top players were just like, I just used Harpies to get there. It's super consistent. It does it thing. And we kind of sort of came to a relative consensus of, this is roughly about the list you should be playing for Harpies through that. Like, most of the best players were just like, you play vanillas, you're playing 3D names, you may or may not be playing Birdface. And then all of a sudden, going into the weekend, the deck just disappeared. No one was playing Harpies. And then all of a sudden, Crimson Kingdom came out Monday, and all of that went to hell because we got Knight of the Red Lotus, and this card is insane. We got other stuff like Great Angus and Blazing Apache, but they're just interchangeable power creep vanilla beaters. The big one is just Knight of the Red Lotus.
Definitely hype on Knight of the Red Lotus. Best card in pack.
And, like, an overnight changes the way you play normal beaters. Obviously, its best home is Harpies because recycling MSTs is fantastic. But he's normal Gravekeeper's Chieftain that you can just slot into stuff and special summon. He just does everything. He slices, he dices. And so, past couple days, you know, me and Laz and Polar Bear in the Sun, we just were like kind of all of a sudden had that light bulb click at the same time somewhere around like Wednesday, and we just all just started grinding with vanilla Harpies and trying stuff, and you're just like, Knight of the Red Lotus is insane. How about this Heart of the Underdog while we're drawing a million cards? Oh, Heart of the Underdog, also randomly insane. We probably shouldn't be playing anything but vanillas anymore. And then, like, it just kind of sort of all comes together. And tournament came up, Duel League tournament today, and we were just like, well, we just kind of know what we're doing. And this is what I ended up running personally. Laz's list was pretty close. He still doesn't have a 30 econ because RNG doesn't love Laz, and a couple other little tweaks. I ran the Mirror Wall and the Magic Drain. He instead ran, what was it?
I had Mirror Wall in the main. I side decked 2 D-Gates, 2 Adhesion Trap Holes, and the 1 Wild Tornado. The Adhesion Trap Hole was for the balanced, handless deck, and it did see some decent play. D-Gate, love the card, don't need it for vanilla Harpies.
That's kind of how I feel in a lot of random decks. Like, the card is sweet when it does sweet things, but sometimes it's kind of clunky. It's definitely a really powerful card. I'm just not personally in love with it in this deck.
No, it has its home elsewhere, and it works better with like the Relinquished Harpy build or stuff like that. MVP for sure for my experience today. Adhesion Trap Hole against Balanced Handless was probably the best choice. If anything, I'm taking out the D-Gates and I have to find a better substitute for the next tournament.
Yeah, I gotta say, getting to watch one of his games where he got to Adhesion Trap Hole Swift Gaia, and that was pretty sweet. It's definitely an interesting tech card right now because it's so good against like Balanced Handless or 3-star Demotion or even like GKs to an extent. GKs can just kind of sort of keep grinding advantage, but sometimes you can punch a hole. But the other decks, they don't play very many monsters. If you can snipe one of them, they can just be dead on the spot.
Sniping in a Swift Gaia definitely sets back handless. 2K beaters, yeah, but with fields up and with if you can maintain card advantage at 2300 dropping to 1150, really sets the deck back.
Yeah, and like it also just increased the stock in Mirror Wall so much. Like Mirror Wall's like so playable in Harpies because Harpies just kind of hates on everyone else's hate. So then you have Mirror Wall, and 3-star Demo and Handless are both really soft to Mirror Wall. And it's just like Mirror Wall's just been putting in work, and its stock keeps getting better and better. Then you'd like still have your normal typical good stuff like Order to Charge and Enemy Controller, which have just been staples of the game since ever.
Yeah, the only thing I might try to work around consistency-wise is the third Order to Charge felt clunky, but at the same time, it's necessary. Like, it's a 2 in main, 1 inside.
Yeah, and like, if you're just grinding the king of games, you might just still run the 3. Like, there's certain matchups where you definitely want to just draw 3 Order to Charge, or like, you know, have the option to have like the better chance to draw it. Like, there's like the decks that really hinge on just one monster dying, you're really happy to have them.
MVP of the deck is Knight of the Red Lotus, though.
Yeah, definitely. We both ran 10 10 vanilla beaters today. Definitely would rather have 9. Definitely want the second Knight of the Red Lotus, but like, man, trying to rip ultra rares from a 200 pack gacha and getting multiples of them really sucks.
Definitely, especially when one of your favorite cards is in that gacha and you don't want to reset it, even though you should.
One of these days, Laz will make D-Pally great again. If nothing else, he's going to build the ultimate D-Pally deck and just auto-duel every day with it, and it'll make him happy.
Yes, it would. And D-Pal has potential. Ingrained negation. He has so much goodness.
Yeah, I mean, like, your average Harpy deck, well, I shouldn't say average, but, like, the better Harpy builds, you know, like, you have triple order to charge, triple enemy controller. I mean, quick play spells are the name of Duel Links. He negates them. He's pretty much bigger than everything that matters. Fusions still have fusion problems, though.
Still easier to get out than an Invader of Darkness. Even though I like Invader of Darkness, he can be easier to get out.
Yeah. The biggest thing we've learned is, man, they came out with more power creep beaters, and Harpies is still obnoxious. It still keeps getting better. They still keep giving cards to it. It's not going away. People have been playing it since the Kaiba Cup.
Since before the Kaiba Cup. We're not going to see Harpies go anywhere anytime soon because of Harpies Hunting Ground, and they're not going to nerf the skill. It's the one deck that's been consistent throughout. Like we've seen Relinquished top heyday, it was amazing. Switcheroo got nerfed. No one plays Relinquished. If anything, they're playing Harpy Relinquished.
Yeah, and that's just kind of how it is, but people are still playing Relinquished. A few people are still doing decent with it. Just kind of like Dinos. Dinos got a couple new cards. A few people hit King of Games with it. New players are still grinding Dinos.
Dinos are solid. One big up for Dinos is they can play vanilla Dinos and play Knight of the Red Lotus.
Yup. They got a new 1700, 1500 Dino beater. I mean, as long as like normals are the name of the game, they keep adding more normal support. They're just going to keep getting better. But also, the more 4-stars people are playing, you're going to start seeing more 4-star bugs. Weevil hasn't gone anywhere. And, like, 4-star bug is insane against all of these normal beater decks. It also happens to just be, like, a blowout against handless a lot of the times.
And restart the motion if they don't know how to play around it.
Yeah, like, 4-star bugs is one of those cards that it just, like, all of a sudden came roaring back. Like, it used to be everywhere back in the Dino meta, and then it just kind of disappeared because it's really bad against Sonic Ducks. But it's awesome to see, like, how stuff shifts and changes, and bad cards become good cards, and good cards become bad cards. Like, and like you never really know when your stuff's going to like just all of a sudden like, man, I'm so glad I have these, or how many people go, man, I'm really mad I converted that.
Or man, I wish I could pull that already.
Yeah, or like you feel bad for the people who are on like limited resources and just went hard on Relinquished, and they're just kind of stuck.
Please don't remind me.
There's many things Laz regrets in his time in Duel Links. But like the nice thing right now is as stuff shifts and changes, we finally have like real options for stuff. The only thing that we just don't really have an option is we don't have a mystical space typhoon. And like until like there's that thing, you're just gonna have to be running 1300, 1400 like Harpy beers and just deal with it. Like the only other deck that has an MST, their MST is an ultra rare, and you have to play dragons, and dragons can't play orders to charge.
Nope, unless we get a vanilla.
Yeah, and even then, like to run orders, you need like to be able to run 6. Like, so it's not like they can't just be like, here's like a new card flipper campaign. Congrats, you get Luster Dragon. Like they can't do that.
No, and I hope he's not a Mokuba drop reward.
Yeah, the spec on him and Alexandrite Dragon being in the game is mildly terrifying, even though I love those cards.
Well, you'd be power creeping your own pack within the first week of its release, week and a half.
Yeah, it's not the best. I mean, we also just we need some other piece of targeted removal that just isn't order to charge, so other decks can do things. Like we have this twofold problem of like we don't have MSTs and we don't have like an alternative to order to charge. Like we have like Stormnado has become like this like huge thing in the game because it's one of the few things that handles back row. And our back row cards have finally started getting decent. Like, we got cards like Magic Drain that we just didn't have before.
Slowly but surely, it's looking up that we're going to be getting more support for archetypes, more generic good stuff, and you'll see the game itself is getting better, and opinions may vary, but you could feel the game is getting better.
Agreed. Like, people are a lot more excited about stuff and a lot happier stuff recently. I mean, like, if people's biggest complaint right now is just, like, they don't give us enough gems compared to, like, how many cards they keep throwing at us, but, like, mobile game problems.
Nature of the beast, sadly, but new levels, more gems. Hopefully, but we're not going to get a new character yet because we're getting... Mokuba's probably going to be a wandering duelist, and then we're going to get Recur at the end of the month. Hopefully next month we get somebody huge. Like, we need Pyric. We still have...
Yeah, they spoiled Pyric, like, forever and a day ago. And, like, my Weevil deck has been wanting Lava Golem in it forever.
Yeah, we could definitely do with some improvements. Speaking of, hopefully Burn gets limited. Destructive Revolution gets limited. So sick of Cancer. So sick of it.
Laz doesn't like playtesting my fun decks because they're not fun for him. But yeah, no, Burn, like, it doesn't feel like it's that good if you've extensively tested the deck and you're being perfectly honest. Like, it's not broken right now, but it's not fun for everyone. Sometimes you FTK people, sometimes like they're dead in 2 turns, or sometimes you just do 2,000 damage and die.
It's a coin toss, but it's still annoying.
Yeah, and like it's one of those things in games like this. If things are super not fun for enough people, like maybe we shouldn't be having them. I mean, this is coming from this weird sadistic person who does like playing things like Mask of the Accursed and, like, clowns.
Former Magic player, well, Magic players in general, you being one.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, though, way more hype to be playing Duel Links than I have been in a while. I hate myself for playing Harpies, but, like, it feels so good to draw a million cards with Heart of the Underdog or replay all of your dudes over and over again with Knight of the Red Lotus and blowing up all of the things. I mean, it just like, it does everything right now.
It's so good. And no one likes Harpies, but we gotta play it.
I mean, some people like Harpies. I mean, I don't personally know anybody that's their waifu, but, there's people.
All in all, an exciting 2 weeks. We've seen ups and downs. We've seen amazing cards, amazing skills. Pack came out that pretty much turned everything upside down.
Yeah, it's probably the best time to be playing Duel Links we've had since we were, like, thanking them for having, like, server issues and giving us 500 gems.
Or switching over from a dead mobile game that kind of just destroyed the community.
Yeah. Really, really been happy super excited to see stuff that comes. Hopefully the next Bakura, they add some new interesting things. People were really upset with the first round of Bakura. I mean, like, I'm one of those weird people who I was just like, sweet, Gross Ghost, I have this another wall of something. And most other people were just like, I don't want to do anything with any of these things. He definitely didn't have anything on the quality level of 3-star Demo or Dimension Gate, that's for sure.
Not even close. Like, the Paradox Brothers came out of nowhere and redefined the meta. And Bakura just kind of fell flat on his ass.
Pretty much. Like, a whole bunch of people who like building really bad decks really love Destiny Board, and other than that, Bakura's done nothing. And like even like the skills that seemed like they might be playable have done nothing.
And the drop cards weren't even that good. I mean, Gross Ghost being 1800 defense is okay for Weevil, but we should have got some zombie support, something that made sense.
Yeah, like, he could have, like, had Wasteland as a skill. That would have been great. That would have been great with this new pack. Being able to run a whole bunch of 1900 zombie beaters that do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And, like, the best they've done at reviving an old archetype that died was they gave us Hammer Shark. Hammer Shark has, like, been slowly, like, this Mako fan dark horse thing that's coming out of nowhere. And, like, people have just, like, some of them made it into the top 50 of the qualifiers last weekend. I don't know if anybody made it in the top 10, but it's slowly becoming everywhere. And, like, LOL Mako has been a joke for months.
Daedalus is okay. He's slow now, but people are figuring out that, yeah, Starboy, laugh at Starboy all you want. He reduces your your Blazing Apache, he reduces your Great Angus, and your Knight of the Red Lotus. That's something there, okay? Interactions with Hammer Shark and Lost Blue Breaker kind of work like a harpy. And there's viability, and there's more room to play defensive too.
Yeah, like, them having access to, like, Yomi Ship and Needlefish as sort of, like, the next bet, and, like, the deck runs Meacheezer reasonably well. That's starting to see an uptick. Meacheezer's kind of hard to deal with for certain decks. But, like, Yomi Ship and Needlefish do, like, the best kind of sort of, we don't have order to charge, but we kind of deal. And then, like, you can just, like, I have these Hammer Sharks, and then Blue Breaker happens to just kind of sort of work, like you said, like a Harpy. And strangely enough, that, like, one of the decks that's bringing the fight best to Harpies is Mako.
Yeah, that was probably the toughest matchup today. Besides Handless, it just can feed itself. Special summoning a Blue Breaker, popping your field spell. It was good.
Yeah, like, that deck getting to go first and just kind of do it, like, puts on some back row, being able to play a Hammer, like, games where they go Hammer Shark, free double summon are just so hard to beat. Like, you do have that, like, the biggest problem that deck has is hands without Hammer Shark are so much worse. Like, it has that, like, Agent of Venus or Gravekeeper's Recruiter sort of problem of this card just makes your deck so much better that hands with it versus hands without it, just like night and day.
Not being able to search Hammer Shark is also an issue too, right? But it's good at what it does.
Yeah, and like that deck finally has enough reasonable options to be a thing, and it's less of a joke than we'd like to admit. And there's a lot of like little bits of tweaking that you can do to just kind of sort of come out with like the best version of that thing. And like the biggest thing for me, because I love just coming up with crazy wacky decks, that's what I do, is like you can just like there's so many new decks that people are coming up with. Like for the longest time, it was like we had like 4 decks that people played. Like you had 5 decks that people played, something like that. And then just like all of a sudden they were just like, we're gonna just like try all these like random last gamble decks, and then like, oh, Paradox Brothers happened, and the qualifier happened, and we had a new pack that doesn't suck. Because like, yeah, you can build baboons, but who builds baboons?
Probably the worst pack outside of Gearfried and Mega Rock might see play eventually if Night Warriors become a thing. But thinking back, it might be worth going into Age of Discovery a second time to get your second Mitsuri and your Yomi ship. All in all, we're not playing either the Mirror, or we're not playing GKs versus Relinquished, or Harpies versus Relinquished over and over again.
Yeah, there was that hot second in that King of Games grind where like, yeah, you just saw like Weevils and Harpies all the time, but still like once we got to the qualifiers, like you were seeing all sorts of crazy stuff. You're seeing clowns. Victory Viper got third. Out of all the random craziness, a dude hit 130k DP with Victory Viper.
Machines have some solid support. What do you want me to say?
Yeah. I mean, like, we just happen to have this random skill that is, like, the perfect thing for Victory Viper, where you just, like, randomly materialize 700 attacks, so...
And Rare Metal Morph being able to negate everything but Order to Charge is good.
Yeah, like, Rare Metal Morph, it negates, like, econs, it negates soul exchanges, it negates 1,000 knives. Oh, it's also a damage step trick. Oh, like, I just casually get to run these Sergeant Electros as, like, Sergeant Electro's, like, one of the other things that kind of sort of works like an MST in this game. And so many decks just kind of sort of revolve around what of our playable back row hates. Like, that's why, like, it's, like, you have Sergeant Electro as a staple, you have Storm as a staple. And, like, those are the big things moving forward, like, those are the centers of, like, all of the successful decks, is just, like, how can I handle back row? How can I target a monster and kill it?
And there's been so much variety, like Cottonman Blue Eyes with Champions Vigilance and D-Gate. You got Desert Twister Last Gamble. You've got 3SD. You've got so much variety now compared to 2 months ago.
Yeah, and some of it was we got new cards. And, like, certain things, like, it takes us, like, a little while for, you know... Like, obviously, people actually have to obtain the cards. Collecting a whole bunch of ultra rares can take a while. So you see a lot more quick movement from small packs than you do big packs. But at the same time, like, a few new cards can come out and just, like, totally change things. Like, immediately everyone's like, well, I need 3 Kaiba Men. And if you've been playing for any period of time, getting gold's not a big deal. Especially when they, like, gave us 100k gold just for hitting 31. That was, like, one of the best things they did to us.
It's still sufferable.
Like, yeah, you can still burn through that gold pretty quick. I am a compulsive buyer of all things in the card trader.
It's just, overall, the game's changed, and it's gone in a good direction. It's not as stale as it was. We're seeing more variety. We're getting better cards. And we're seeing... My background is TCG. I've played the game since the beginning. Like, 2003 or whenever it came to Canada is when I started playing. So I've been there for every single one of these cards. And seeing archetypes and seeing cards that won't see play in real life making such a huge difference in Links is amazing. Like, Dimension Gate, you'll never see it in play in real life. But here, deck size, speed, everything counts. So that D-Gate protecting your monster makes such a big difference.
Yeah, and like stuff, like a whole bunch of stuff that just like wasn't ever really that big, and like certain things that are just kind of fan favorites are just like stuff you can play. Obviously, like all of that stuff is, you know, possible to change down the road. Like they just like, here's your synchros, your Xyz, and your pendulums. Turn 1 giant crazy things, and yeah. But as of right now, people are just playing vanilla beaters. I mean, vanilla beaters haven't been this good since like 2002.
2002, 2003, That's when what the decks were. If it wasn't Exodia, you had your beaters, and it's it's such a fresh take on the game. Like from going and playing Pendulum and Synchros and everything like that, game got too fast, the game got too expensive, the game got to the point where it's over in 2 minutes and you feel dissatisfied. To you're playing games like that tournament we played earlier. My matchup with 2-0 and his balanced handless, I lost, yes, but I didn't regret nothing. It was a solid game and it was fun.
Yeah, like that first time where you play that, like, play one game in Duel Links, where you're going back and forth with somebody, and like you're like, this match is taking 15 minutes. How is it taking 15 minutes? And like, one of my matches today, I had 2 cards left in my deck. 2.
I will say, and whoever wants to get mad. I don't care. Exceed summoning is my favorite mechanic. Limiting the extra deck to 5 helps with the overflow of the just generic good stuff. So I could see Exceed coming in and not being as broken as it is in real life because you don't have the summoning mechanics we have yet. You don't have the broken stuff. Synchro might not see as much play because it's harder to play off, and Pendulum's just stupid. You don't. Worst mechanic, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's a little bit early yet. I believe somebody data mined. Was it a Pendulum? No, it was an Xyz, wasn't it?
They data mined the icons for Exceed Synchro, Exceed Synchro, and Pendulum, if I remember correctly. But that's far off. Like, we're still first generation Yu-Gi-Oh! We still haven't got Merrick. We still didn't get Grandpa. We still didn't get a bunch of characters, right? So they're going to extend this as far as possible and then shift us over into GX era, which is fusion summons and heroes and one of the most popular seasons since the first season, right? So we got a long way to go. They can't just spring Exceed on us right away.
Yeah, I mean, if depending on what their long game is for this, yeah, definitely. Like, if they're just working through anime story arcs, we got a whole bunch of seasons for them to work through. Like, we could just all of a sudden, like, have them come out with Egyptian God cards. Like, no one ever thought anybody was going to ever be putting a Gate Guardian onto the field. I didn't think I was going to be putting a Gate Guardian onto the field. But, like, all of a sudden, like, here's this skill. Like, you never know. Like we might just come out with, like, here's these God cards, here's this skill to put a God card on the field.
Don't lie, you dreamed of putting Gate Guardian on the field. That was your mission from the day one.
It was a mission, but I didn't dream on it. It was just going to, like, I'm going to do it once and take a picture, because no one's going to believe this happened.
But no, I can see them introducing a certain skill that helps you get it, and there's certain cards that can help you bring out the gods. They're still slow, okay, but you have other alternatives. You got the wicked gods, you got the sacred beast. There's so much left that they can bring in.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to what's to come. Hopefully they do something pretty sweet for the Duel Links World Championship. I'll be really interested to see how the whole real life thing plays out. Hopefully we get a new big event like the championship qualifiers, like the Kaiba Cup. Like, hopefully we get one of those, like, every couple months or so. Like, to just, like, we want that high level competition. Like, people are doing a whole bunch of, like, you know, tournaments via, like, Discord and etc. But, like, there's even been a few really big ones of those. Like, there was one that was, like, 600 people. Like, the game's got a lot of room to grow. Thousands and thousands of people are playing it. Like, just the North American Group A, like, we had, what, 3,000 or so people ranked at King of Games?
Group A North America had well over 10,000. Like, I didn't play for a few days, and I was 13 something.
Oh, wow.
Like, we got a lot of players.
Yeah, like I remembered when I first started rank, like my first match like put me into like around like the 2 to 3 thousands like immediately after it went live because I'm a crazy insomniac and I was up.
Yeah, it's just there's room for growth. The community is getting bigger, and it's not going away anytime soon. This iteration of mobile Yu-Gi-Oh is the best one to date. We've had dual generations or whatever it's called, which was subpar, wasn't good. Okay, Bam just made fun of the game and it was dumb. And Duel Links speed format, yeah, but it's enjoyable. You're having fun playing it. You don't feel like you're wasting your time.
Yeah, like they got almost like around 20 years of making a card game. They've been making, video games almost the whole time they've been making the card game. So definitely a lot of excitement, hoping for the best. Game could be pretty good in the long haul. And yeah, I mean, really excited to see what's coming out of the next couple events. Want to see what our drops are from Mokuba and what we're going to get hitting level 40 on our characters. I mean, I love the gate events. The stupid open world events drive me insane, but like we're getting another gate event in Bakura again. He might get some sweet new cards. They seem to kind of hear the feedback. They seem to be like a little more on top of the stuff. If like they could be a little bit better at like stopping hackers, that'd be great. But that's an argument for a whole bunch of other people that they can deal with that.
Yeah, definitely not in my toolbox to bring that shit. I will say the game has so much growth, so much potential, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. We're getting Mokuba, yeah, disappointed. I thought it was going to be Solomon this whole time because of the hint they give, but it's still better than nothing. Okay, we're getting gate events with new rewards every time. So seeing certain characters come back again, even though you farmed them already, isn't that big of a deal. Like the next Pegasus event hopefully has some new drop rewards. That would make it more interesting for us that we've already got everything, right?
Yeah, and then there's also the flip side of that is like a lot of times that first time you do an event, you don't get crap. Like a few like when Bakura or Paradox came around, like people were well enough like into the game where like a few people were just like, I'm farming 10,000, 10 million points. But like, I don't know how many times little Yugi's come by now. I still don't have 3 of every one of his cards. I mean, that's open world problems, but it can take a while to farm enough of these stupid cards because RNG sucks.
You're telling the wrong guy. I still don't have a third econ, and I've been playing for 5 months.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, on that note, Laz reminded me. So I have this like small little subset of cards that are really hard to get, and I have extra copies. And let's go make one of those go away.
Really? You're the worst.
Nah. Maybe some other day. Just gonna sit here. Anyways, guys, it's been a good night. It's been a long day. Me and Laz are hitting up a tournament again tomorrow, so hopefully he can win this one.
Yeah, it's as always, it's a pleasure chatting with you guys. Thanks for watching. Shout out to my boy Out of Characters 2-0.
And definitely gotta give some props for Polar Bear in the Snow for helping us out with the Red Lotus Harpies this week. It's what he took to King of Games, and he's been very helpful at playtesting with us.
Yeah, props to my dear boy.
All right, guys. We will be talking to you again next time we feel like we got something to talk about, so probably in a couple of weeks. We'll see you guys again.
Take care.